Namaskaram. Money, this word, can make a person light up with desire or shrink in fear. It is not some evil spirit lurking in the shadows of society, nor is it a divine gift that drops from the heavens. It is simply a tool, like fire. And like fire, if you know how to handle it, it will warm your home, it will cook your food, it will light up your life. But if you are unaware, if you are careless, if you play with it without understanding, then the same fire can reduce your entire life to ash. People often come to me and say, Sadhguru, I work hard, I do everything I can, but still money is never enough. Why is that? I tell them, it is not the salary, not the economy, not even the government, it is the mind, it is the way you think, the way you respond, the way you behave. These small patterns, repeated every day without awareness, are what create your experience of lack. Poverty is not just in your wallet. Poverty is in how you think, how you feel, how you make decisions. If you are spending more energy avoiding the pain of your past and creating the power of your future, no amount of money will ever be enough. The real poverty is not outside, it is internal. And this is the good news. Because if it is internal, then you can change it. Today, I am not here to give you investment tips. I am not going to teach you how to trade stocks or buy land or start a business. There are plenty of people out there talking about that. Some of them know what they're saying, some are just loud. What I want to offer you is clarity. Clarity about your behavior with money. Clarity about the invisible mistakes that people repeat again and again, not realizing they are the very chains that keep them poor. Before we even speak about the 5 mistakes, let's look at a small story. Not a mythological tale, not a fable, just a real story, one you know very well, though you never heard it told like this. There was a young man, bright, sincere, determined. Every day he gets up, he works hard, he earns, he tries to save, but no matter how much he makes, at the end of the month the money seems to vanish. A new phone, a dinner outing, a fancy gadget, a small celebration and poof, it's gone. So he tells himself, maybe I need to work harder, maybe I need a second job, maybe a lottery ticket will change my luck, but nothing really changes. After some years, he stops dreaming big, he just wants to survive. And quietly, a belief enters his system, maybe I'm just not meant to be rich. This man is not alone. You may find him in your neighborhood or your own mirror. Every day, people are running faster and faster on the treadmill of survival, but getting nowhere. And the reason is simple effort without awareness is like driving a car with no steering. You might be pressing the accelerator, but you have no direction. It is a deep misunderstanding that hard work alone brings wealth. If that were true, all the laborers on the streets would be the richest people. It's not about sweat, it's about strategy. It's about how you manage your energy, your attention, your priorities. Success with money is not about earning more, it's about thinking differently. Somewhere along the way, many people have been taught that money is dirty, that wealth is corrupting, that to desire abundance is to become greedy. So, they keep themselves small, struggling and call it spiritual. But I want you to understand, there is nothing spiritual about suffering. There is no nobility in worrying about paying your rent. There is no holiness in not being able to support your family. You can be poor and spiritual, you can be rich and spiritual, you can meditate in a hut or in a palace. But if you believe that being broke makes you a better person, then you are insulting both life and your own potential. The universe itself is abundant. Look at nature. Does a mango tree produce only one mango? Does the ocean try to conserve water? Does the sun hold back its light? Number, nature knows no lack. Scarcity exists only in the human mind. When a person has been poor for too long, something terrible happens. Poverty becomes part of their identity. It affects the way they speak, the way they walk, the way they expect things to go. Even when opportunities knock, they keep the door shut because their belief is, nothing good ever happens for me. They are not living anymore, they are just surviving. And that is not life, that is slavery, a self-created one. So today, I'm not asking you to chase money, I'm asking you to stop running from it, to stop treating it like a monster, to stop misusing it, misjudging it, misunderstanding it. Money is not a god, and it is not a demon either. It is a mirror. It reflects who you are and how you handle life. This is not about feeling guilty. I'm not blaming you. I know many poor people who work harder than billionaires, but you must understand rowing harder is not useful if your boat is pointed in the wrong direction. If you're in the wrong river altogether, it doesn't matter how strong your arms are. So, this is not a session for shame, this is not a lecture for judgment, this is a moment for clarity. Awareness is like light. Once it comes in, the darkness doesn't need to be fought, it just vanishes. If your clothes are on fire, you don't analyze the fire, you don't blame your ancestors, you jump into water. That's what awareness is, a coolness that ends the chaos. When it comes to money, the biggest difference is not between rich and poor people, it is between a rich and poor mindset. Most people confuse this. They think the rich mindset means owning a big house or driving a luxury car. That's not a mindset, that's an outcome. The real difference is invisible. It's in how people think, in how they respond to challenges, in the assumptions they make about life. A poor mindset says, I can't afford this, or that's not for people like me. A rich mindset says, how can I afford this, and what must I learn to deserve this? One shrinks in fear, the other expands in possibility. One sees a problem and stops. The other sees the same problem and begins looking for solutions. People with poor mindsets wait for someone to rescue them. People with rich mindsets take responsibility, not just for their income but for their habits, their emotions, their learning and their growth. And this is the truth, whether we like it or not, poverty, when it stays for too long, becomes comfortable. You start to protect it, you start calling it humility, you start decorating it with spiritual words, but in reality it is fear. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of change. Money will not make you evil. If you are evil, money will amplify it. But if you are loving, kind and conscious, money will make you powerful in spreading that light. You can feed 1,000 mouths, educate hundreds of children and bring dignity to the suffering, but not if you are constantly worried about your own survival. So, are you ready? Ready to see what you could not see before? Ready to stop blaming the outside and look within? Because true wealth begins not in your job or your salary or your business. It begins in your behavior, your focus, your daily unconscious patterns. You may be repeating the same 5 mistakes every day and wondering why life isn't changing. Once you see these patterns, transformation is simple. You don't need to fight yourself, you just need to see clearly. Let's sit together in this moment, not with shame, but with curiosity. Because when you are truly willing to see, the blindfold of ignorance drops by itself. And once it drops, you don't need motivation. You will move with the force of clarity, with the grace of inner fire, with the blessing of awareness. And from that place, money will come not to dominate you, but to serve you. First, money mistake, spending emotionally, not consciously. There was once a man who, after many years of struggle, landed his first well-paying job. He had grown up watching his parents fight over bills, watching his mother suppress her dreams so she could feed the family, watching his father wear the same old shirt to every occasion. So the day he got his first real paycheck, something in him erupted, not in gratitude but in hunger. He went straight to the mall, bought expensive shoes, ordered lavish food, signed up for a luxury gym, not because he needed those things, but because he needed to feel worthy, valuable, seen. He came home that night and wept silently. Not because he was broke again, but because he realized the poverty he thought he escaped was still sitting inside him. He had earned money, but he had not earned mastery. He had chased wealth, but not awareness. He was still reacting, still trying to prove something, still running from the old pain of not having enough. This is the tragedy of emotional spending. You are not buying the object, you are trying to purchase a feeling of importance, a feeling of success, a feeling of escape. But feelings bought this way are very expensive because they never last. You buy a new outfit, you feel good for a day, you eat at a fine restaurant, you feel good for an hour, but then comes the guilt, the confusion, the regret, and again you run to buy something new just to avoid sitting with yourself. Tell me, can a man with no awareness ever be wealthy, no matter how much he earns? If your inner world is starving, no outer purchase can feed it. You see, money in itself is neutral, it does not know who you are, but the way you spend it reveals everything about your consciousness. Every swipe of your card, every rupee that leaves your pocket, every small indulgences are not just transactions, they are reflections. Now, let's look at how this works deeper. Imagine you had a hard day, your boss was rude, your spouse complained, the traffic was loud, you come home tired and irritated. What do? You pull out your phone and begin shopping, not because you need anything, but because you want to distract yourself from your feelings. You want the illusion of control. You want a reward for surviving a painful day. But this is where the trap deepens. This is where the trap… The moment you begin to associate spending with emotional comfort, you disconnect money from purpose. You stop using it as a tool and start using it as a drug. It becomes your escape. And every addict needs a bigger dose. Today a coffee, tomorrow a gadget, next week a holiday you cannot afford. You may think it's harmless, but this kind of unconscious spending slowly creates financial instability. You begin to live on the edge, your savings disappear, your debt grows, and now money becomes a source of anxiety instead of empowerment. What was meant to serve your life begins to control it. And why does this happen? Because most people have never learned how to sit with their discomfort. They never learned how to feel their sadness without trying to fix it with shopping. They never learned how to face boredom without filling it with entertainment subscriptions. Look, we live in a culture that teaches us, if you feel bad, buy something. If you're tired, order food. If you're sad, get a massage. If you're lonely, scroll through your phone. But what we're really doing is numbing ourselves. We are not healing the emotion, we are hiding it under consumption. It's like cleaning your house by sweeping all the dust under the carpet. One day, the pile becomes so large you trip over it and fall. Emotional spending also comes from comparison. You see someone on social media vacationing in Italy, and suddenly you feel your life is boring. You didn't even think about traveling till you saw that photo. But now, you are online, looking for flight tickets you cannot afford, just to keep up with the fantasy. A moment captured in filters, a story that doesn't even belong to you. Comparison is one of the fastest ways to become poor, not just financially, but spiritually. When you live your life based on what others are doing, you will always feel like you are behind, and this creates urgency. That dangerous voice that says, buy it now, don't wait, you deserve it. Yes, you deserve joy, but joy does not come from a shopping cart. It comes from being in integrity with yourself. It comes from saying, I could buy this, but I choose not to, because I have a bigger vision for my life. Discipline is not suppression, it is remembering what you truly want. Do you want the fleeting thrill of a purchase or the long-term freedom of financial strength? Every decision is a seed. What are you planting today? Let me tell you this, when you spend emotionally, you are often trying to solve a problem that money cannot fix. Loneliness, insecurity, the need to be loved, these are human experiences. Money can make them feel softer for a moment, but it cannot heal them. Only presence can do that, only courage can do that. Only turning inward and asking, what am I really feeling right now, can do that. You don't have to be rich to spend consciously, you just need to be aware. Before you buy anything, pause. Breathe. Ask yourself, is this purchase coming from clarity or from craving? From purpose or from pain? You don't have to say no every… But when you say yes, let it be from a place of alignment, not addiction. People ask me, "Oh Sadhguru, are you saying we should never enjoy money?" No, I'm saying enjoy it consciously. A man who eats a mango with full awareness enjoys it more than the man who eats 10 mangoes while scrolling through his phone. Joy is not in quantity, joy is in presence. If you want to change your financial life, don't start with your income, start with your awareness. If you can learn to sit through one difficult emotion without trying to spend it away, you are already on the path to freedom. Because now money is not your master, you are. And that is the beginning of true wealth. Not how much you have, but how clearly you see. Not how fast you earn, but how wisely you choose. Second money mistake, avoiding financial responsibility and living in denial. There is a kind of pain that does not scream, it does not shout, it does not demand attention like a broken limb or a burning fever. This pain is silent, it hides behind distractions, it wears a smile when needed, but it weighs heavy on the chest. It follows you to sleep, it stands beside you in the morning. It is the quiet ache of knowing that you are not handling your life the way you should, especially when it comes to money. Now, you may think, Sadhguru, I'm a good person, I'm doing my best. And I do not doubt your sincerity, but let us not confuse being a good person with being a responsible one. There are many kind souls who still live in denial when it comes to their financial life. They pretend not to see what must be seen. They avoid the numbers, they delay the conversations. They look away when the truth knocks at their door. To avoid responsibility is not weakness, it is fear. Fear of facing your past choices, fear of discovering that perhaps you made mistakes, fear of realizing that change is necessary and that it may not be comfortable. But if you cannot face the mirror of your own financial reality, then no amount of outer success will bring peace. Let us take a simple example. A man knows his rent is due. He knows the due date is approaching, yet instead of preparing, he avoids it. He convinces himself he'll deal with it tomorrow, but tomorrow comes and goes. The tension builds, the anxiety grows. Now he's scrambling, borrowing, lying even, just to survive another month. And this cycle continues, not because he is incapable, but because he refuses to confront. Living in denial is like walking through a forest blindfolded. You may take a few lucky steps, but eventually you will trip, you will fall and you will blame the forest. The issue was never the terrain, it was your refusal to open your eyes. Some people don't even know how much debt they have. They don't check their bank statements, they don't plan for their taxes they don't budget, not because they are lazy but because they are scared. They think if they ignore it long enough, it will fix itself. But my dear, life does not work like that. Neglect does not bring solutions, it only breeds chaos. If you do not respect money, money will not stay with you. And respect is not about worshipping it, but taking responsibility. It is about understanding that every rupee has a purpose. Every transaction has a consequence, every delay has a cost. When a person chooses to live unaware of finances, they are not just avoiding numbers, they are avoiding growth. Because financial clarity is not just about wealth, it is about maturity. It is about becoming the kind of human being who can handle life without running from it. Now, let's look at the spiritual aspect. Many people think spirituality means letting go of money. They say, "Oh Sadhguru, I am not interested in money, I just want peace." And I ask them, is it peace or is it just fear wearing the mask of renunciation? Because true letting go comes after responsibility, not before. If you cannot manage 10 rupees, the universe will not trust you with 100. If you do not pay attention to what you already have, what makes you think more will help you? More only magnifies who you are. If you are careless with little, you will be reckless with plenty. There is a deep illusion in the modern world, the belief that we can consume endlessly without consequence. We swipe the card, we take loans, we postpone bills, we stretch credit, we tell ourselves, I'll deal with it later. But later always comes. And when it does not ask for permission, simply demands what is due. Responsibility is not a burden, it is the path to freedom. When you take full ownership of your financial life, when you know where every rupee is going, when you plan, when you save, when you invest wisely, then suddenly money is no longer a source of stress. It becomes a tool, a partner, a quiet support that allows you to live more fully, more creatively, more joyfully. But first, you must be willing to look, to sit with yourself and say, oh, where am I truly? What am I avoiding? What truths have I refused to face? This requires courage. This requires courage, not outer courage, the kind that climbs mountains, but inner courage, the kind that sits with discomfort without flinching, that listens to truth without escape. When you take financial responsibility, it changes your posture. You walk taller, you sleep deeper. Because there is no fear hiding in the corners of your mind. You know what you owe, you know what you own, you know what you spend, and you know what you save. There is a clarity, and with clarity there is power. Let me tell you, money is not complex, human avoidance is what makes it messy. The numbers are not the issue, your unwillingness to face them is. But the moment you sit down and begin, even if it's uncomfortable, even if it's confusing, you have already stepped into a new level of consciousness. Some people say, but Sadhguru, I don't know where to begin. Begin anywhere. Open your bank statement, list your debts, write down your monthly expenses. See the truth even if it scares you, even if it embarrasses you. See it, because what you refuse to see will eventually control you. But what you bring into awareness, you begin to master. Living in denial is like covering a wound with a beautiful cloth. It may look nice for a while, but the infection will spread. Healing does not come from hiding, healing comes from revealing. Sometimes you may not like what you see, you may realize you've wasted money, you've made poor choices, you've delayed important decisions, but that is okay. Because awareness is not about perfection, it is about presence. It is about saying, I may not have known better before, but now I do, and I choose differently. There is a strength in admitting I was wrong. Oh, there is grace in saying, I did not know. And there is power in declaring, and now I take charge. This is the shift from victimhood to responsibility, from avoidance to mastery, from anxiety to abundance. The numbers may remain the same, but your relationship with them changes, and that changes everything. A person who lives in denial is always one step behind life, always reacting, always catching up. But a person who embraces financial responsibility moves with intention, with design, with wisdom. So do not fear the numbers, they are not your enemy, they are your map. A map that shows you where you are, so you can decide where to go next. Without that map, you're just wandering, hoping that one day luck will smile at you. But life is not a game of dice, it is a dance of awareness. And in this dance, the steps matter, the rhythm matters, the direction matters. Responsibility is the music, awareness is the movement. Together they create wealth, not just of money but of life. Third money mistake, thinking short-term instead of long-term. A man came to me once and said, Sadhguru, I want to be rich quickly. I want to double my income in 3 months. I smiled and said, why not double your awareness instead? You see, the poor mindset is always asking, what can I get now? Oh, the rich mindset, true richness is asking, what am I building for the next 10 years? When you think only about today's pleasure, you sacrifice tomorrow's peace. You eat the seed instead of planting it, and then you complain when the tree never grows. People want wealth like instant noodles, fast, hot and ready in minutes. But real wealth is not created in the flash of a moment. It is built step by conscious step with patience. Look around, those who chase the quick win often end up in quicksand. They invest without understanding, they borrow without planning, they spend without thinking, and then they blame the system, the government, the market. But it was never about the system, it was about their short-sightedness. You plant a mango tree and expect fruit tomorrow, you will be disappointed. But if you care for the roots, nourish the soil, protect the sapling, You will one day enjoy a harvest not just for yourself, but for generations. The short-term thinker asks, how can I avoid discomfort? The long-term thinker asks, what discomfort must I go today to create ease tomorrow? That shift is everything. Life will test you. The choice is always before you, pleasure now or prosperity later, discipline now or regret later. It is not a matter of luck, it is a matter of vision. Do not live like a candle, burning fast and bright for a moment, then gone. Live like an oil lamp, low, steady and glowing for the long night ahead. So the question is not how much you can gain right now. The question is, what are you building that will still stand when time has passed? Short-term thinking is poverty in disguise. Long-term vision is the foundation of real wealth. Think not only of today, but of 10 years from now. Then walk every step as if your future self is watching, because in truth, it is. Most people are in a constant rush, not to grow, not to evolve, but to gain. They want results instantly, like fast food. They want wealth now, they want returns now, they want comfort now. In this endless chase for immediacy, they sacrifice what truly matters, the long-term well-being of their life. Short-term thinking is not just a financial mistake, it's a psychological pattern. It's a way of life where decisions are made based on immediate gratification rather than enduring stability. It's when someone says, why should I save when I can spend? Why plan for 10 years when I don't even know what will happen tomorrow? This mindset doesn't liberate, it enslaves. Let's say you earn a little extra money this month. The short-term thinker immediately upgrades their phone, buys new clothes or spends it all on a vacation. The long-term thinker pauses and asks, how can this extra be invested? Can this be put aside for a better foundation tomorrow? One is driven by impulse, the other by intelligence. People don't become poor because of one bad event, they become poor because they never build the resilience to absorb shocks. If your life is structured only for today, you will always live on the edge. The car breaks down and suddenly there is panic. One medical bill and the world feels like it's crumbling. This is the cost of short-term thinking. It leaves you vulnerable, but long-term thinking is an act of awareness. It says, let me not just think of comfort today. Let me create a structure where I can live joyfully 10 years from now too. This means saving, it means investing, it means learning skills that will be relevant not just today, but tomorrow and beyond. When you plant a tree, you don't stand there shouting at the soil to produce fruit tomorrow. You understand it's a process, you water it, you protect it, you wait. And one day without fanfare it bears fruit. Not just once, but again and again. Wealth is the same. Short-term thinkers want reward without discipline. But wealth, real wealth, bows only to those who are patient, deliberate and committed. Do not live like a spark that burns bright and dies out. Live like a lamp, quiet, consistent and enduring. So ask yourself, not what can I get now, but what will this decision mean 10 years from now? That one question alone can change the entire trajectory of financial life. Those who think short-term may enjoy fleeting moments, but those who think long-term build empires, not just of money, but of stability, freedom and grace. Fourth money mistake. Relying solely on one source of income, a man walking on a tightrope with no safety net below is not brave. He is foolish. He may reach the other side once or twice, but one misstep, one gust of wind and everything falls. This is how many live their financial lives, balanced on a single thread of income, praying that nothing ever goes wrong. Depending on one income stream is like planting only one crop. If the weather fails or the soil turns, there is no food, no backup, no harvest. Yet people live this way for decades, working one job, hoping that job will take care of everything. But life doesn't work by your hopes, it responds to your preparedness. You must understand, life is unpredictable. Economies shift, companies close, health fluctuates. The world changes faster than ever. If all your money flows from one tap, what will you drink when that tap dries up? The poor mindset clings to certainty. I have a job, I'm safe. The rich mindset, there is resilience. What if this stops? What else can I create? This is not fear, this is wisdom. You don't wait for the roof to leak before thinking of repairs. You build multiple pillars so that even if one cracks, your house stands. People think creating other sources of income means working more hours. No, it means working with more intelligence. Can your knowledge create digital products? Can your skills offer freelancing on the side? Can your savings grow through smart investments? Can your hobbies be monetized? There are doors, but you must knock. Spirituality means not just in silence but in strategy. Are you slipping through the signs life is giving you? Or are you preparing, expanding, diversifying, not out of greed, but out of inner clarity? When you build multiple streams, you are not just making more money, you are reducing fear, you are creating freedom. The freedom to walk away from what doesn't serve you, the freedom to take risks, the freedom to rest. So never put your life's stability on one fragile thread. Weave a net, not out of desperation but out of vision. Let every stream you create be a song of your creativity and responsibility. That is not just financial intelligence. That is financial yoga, balance, strength and conscious movement. In this world, walking on one leg may be possible, but try dancing. Try climbing, try running, it becomes a struggle. In the same way, depending on a single source of income is like trying to balance your entire life on one weak leg. The moment life shakes, and it always does, you fall. Many people believe that if they have a job, they are secure, but what kind of security depends on a single thread. One decision by your boss, one economic downturn, one unexpected illness, that thread snaps. The whole life, which was delicately tied to that single source, begins to unravel. This is not about fear, this is about wisdom. A wise person does not prepare after the storm comes. A wise person builds a house that can withstand all seasons. If you ask those who have created true wealth, just money but a life of abundance, they will tell you, they never relied on only one stream. They created multiple flows, and these flows were not always grand or complex. Sometimes it began with a small idea, a side project, a hobby, a rental property, a digital course, a little investment. Small streams that grew into rivers, and over time these rivers joined to create an ocean of stability. You see, one of the great tragedies of the poor mindset is its obsession with safety, but only in the form of a job. A job gives structure, yes, but it also gives the illusion of permanence. Nothing in this life is permanent. To believe that a single employer will take care of you forever is like thinking the same weather will remain all year round. The rich mindset, however, is rooted in creative freedom. It asks, what value can I create? It doesn't wait for the world to give, it moves first. It sees potential in skills, in ideas, in trends. It doesn't say, I'm too busy, it says, where can I build something small today so I don't break tomorrow? People often say, but Sadhguru, I don't have time. You have time for scrolling, you have time for television, you have time for gossip. You have time for gossip, but not to create something that may liberate you. The problem is not time. The problem is blindness to your own capacity. In ancient India, even spiritual seekers were taught to never rely on one support. If they were given food by a devotee, they would still know how to beg, how to cook, how to forage. Not because they were greedy, but because they understood that life must never be lived on the edge of dependency. So how do you begin? First, understand your skills. What do you know? What can you do naturally? Can it serve others? Can it be taught? Can it be offered in a new form? Can it be converted into something the digital world needs? Second, look at where your money is going. If all of it is just being spent, then even with one income you are leaking. Start channeling small amounts into investment, savings or even self-education, so that in a few years, your knowledge starts to earn for you. Third, embrace the idea that income does not always mean effort. Sometimes the smartest income is passive, built from assets, intellectual property, rentals or business system. You don't need to sweat for every rupee if your rupees start working for you. One stream of income may seem enough when things are calm, but life does not promise calm. When you build multiple streams, you are not being greedy, you are being conscious. You are respecting your future. Don't live on a single rope over a deep valley. Build a bridge, and when that bridge becomes strong, build another. That is not just wealth creation, that is freedom. It is freedom. It is a space to breathe, to grow, to live with dignity, not fear. True abundance doesn't come from what you have, it comes from how many ways life flows through you. Fifth money mistake, neglecting to educate yourself about money. You see, the irony of life is that people will spend 40 years earning money, but not even 40 hours understanding how money works. From morning to night, they run behind it. Wake up early, catch the bus, obey the boss, fill the spreadsheet, climb the ladder, but not once do they stop to ask, what is this thing I'm trading my life for? What is money? Really? This ignorance is not just a small oversight. It is one of the most dangerous and costly mistakes a human being can make. We are not talking about greed here, we are talking about awareness. Money is not the ultimate goal, but it is a necessary tool. Without a proper understanding of it, even the noblest of dreams can crumble. Even the kindest heart can suffer. Even the most talented soul can remain trapped in a cage of financial helplessness. People often think that if they work hard, they will become rich. But hard work alone does not guarantee. If effort was the only key, the laborers of the world would be the wealthiest. It is not just about how much you work, it is about how much you understand what you're doing and how you handle the fruit of your effort. Think of it like this. A man goes to the forest, cuts the most valuable wood but doesn't know its worth, he burns it to cook his food. Another man finds a simple herb, knows its medicinal power, packages it and sells it worldwide. Who is wealthier? But the one who had awareness. The same principle applies to money. You may earn lakhs per month, but if you don't know how to manage it, invest it, grow it and protect it, you're just burning precious wood to boil your tea. You are sacrificing long-term well-being for momentary comfort. Most people never take the time to learn about money because they have inherited a mindset of scarcity and helplessness. They say things like, I'm just not good with numbers, or money is not my thing, or let the husband handle that, or my accountant knows better. This outsourcing of responsibility is not wisdom, it is surrender. In the yogic tradition, we say, yata drishti, tata srishti, as is your vision, so is your creation. If your vision of money is blurry, so will be the structure of your life. You don't need to be a financial expert, but you must be aware. Let me ask you, do you know where your money goes every month? Do you know the exact interest rate on your loans? Do you understand how inflation is eroding your savings? Do you know the difference between an appreciating asset and a depreciating one? Do you have a long-term plan for your wealth? If your answer is a no to most of these, then understand, your ignorance is costing you every day. Now I'm not saying money is everything, far from it. But let me tell you, if you don't handle money wisely, it will become everything in your life. You will wake up thinking of bills, go to bed thinking of debt. You will begin to compromise your peace, your time, your relationships, your health, just to keep up. That is not success, that is slavery. The solution is not more struggle, the solution is education. And this education is not locked away in some university. It is at your fingertips. Books, videos, conversations, workshops and courses. Most of it costs nothing, but the willingness to learn, that is everything. If you can spend 2 hours watching a film, you can spend 20 minutes reading about financial planning. If you can gossip for an hour, you can watch a video on budgeting or investment. If you can scroll endlessly, you can take a free online course on money management. The time is there, the opportunity is there. The question is, are you there? Why does this matter so much? Because when you don't understand money, you live in fear. Fear of losing your job, fear of certain expenses, fear of being unable to provide. And fear is a terrible companion. It makes you reactive. It makes you say yes to things you should walk away from and no to dreams that could transform your life. But when you are financially literate, something incredible happens. You start to breathe differently. You start to walk with a calmness. You know what you have, you know what you have, you know where it's going. You know how to make it grow. This clarity gives you power, not over others, but over your own life. Financial education also gives you freedom. The freedom to walk away from toxic jobs, from manipulative relationships, from desperate choices. It gives you the strength to say, I will not sell my soul just to survive. I will thrive. You begin to see money not as a master, but as a servant, not as a source of anxiety, but as a bridge to your vision. You can give more, invest more. Create more, serve more, create more, serve more. Because you are not busy fixing broken pipes. You are designing a better system. And do not think that this is only for the rich. On the contrary, it is most important for those who are still climbing. Because without education, even a little money disappears. But with wisdom, even a small seed becomes a forest. In the ashram, we often say, don't just meditate on the mountain, know how to climb it. Know how to climb it, awareness and action must go together. In the same way, don't just pray for abundance. Learn how to hold it, how to share it. Don't wait for a financial crisis to wake up. Start now. Start small, but start consciously. Read one article a day. Track your expenses. Speak to someone who knows more than you. Begin a savings habit. Learn about mutual funds, insurance, compounding. Learn the language of money, not so you can worship it, but so you are no longer afraid of it. Remember, money is energy. If you handle it with clarity, it enhances your life. If you handle it blindly, it consumes your life. So, educate yourself. Not because you want to be rich, but because you want to be free. Not because you want to hoard, but because you want to offer. Not because you want power over others, but because you want power over your own destiny. Let this be your turning point. Let this be the moment where you say, no more ignorance, no more confusion. I choose clarity, I choose awareness, I choose to master what I once feared. Because the moment you become financially aware, your life changes. Not just your bank account, but your choices, your confidence, your possibilities. And that, my friend, is true wealth. So if you have walked with me through these 5 money mistakes, it is not just knowledge you are collecting, it is a mirror being held before you, a mirror that doesn't judge you, but reveals you. That quietly says, look, see where you are, see how you think, see how you move through life. Because without this seeing, there can be no transformation. Too many people are asleep in their financial lives, just moving through the motions, not out of laziness but out of inherited patterns. Their father struggled, their mother worried, their grandparents lived in scarcity, and they have unknowingly accepted the same script. They do not even question whether this is the only way to live. They say, this is how life is. No, this is not how life is. This is how unconsciousness is. You see, when we speak of poverty, we often think only of lack of money. But true poverty begins with a poverty of thought, a belief that you are stuck, a belief that wealth belongs to others, a belief that if you want to become rich, you must cheat, manipulate or be born lucky. This belief system is not just wrong, it is toxic. It kills your creativity, it kills your courage, it kills your capacity to shape life the way you want. And the tragedy is, most people never even realize they are caged. They have accepted smallness as the destiny. They walk around with invisible chains, smiling on the outside but deeply weary on the inside. This weariness is not from work. It is from hopelessness. But I tell you, hope is not something you wait for. It is something you create through clarity, through choice, through conscious action. If you look closely at those who have risen, not just in wealth but in fulfillment, you will see they did not wait for the world to change. They changed their inner world first. They stopped blaming their upbringing, their salary, their government, their economy, and they turned inward. They asked, what is my responsibility in this? What can I shift today, even if it is small? And that shift, when done consistently, becomes a wave. That wave becomes a tide. That tide becomes a transformation. You must understand, life does not respond, life does not respond to need, it responds to preparation. Just because you are desperate for money, doesn't mean money will come. But if you are prepared, mentally, emotionally, skillfully, energetically, then life cannot help but respond. Even the earth does not yield fruit to the one who begs. It yields to the one who tills the soil, plants the seed, waters it and waits. That is devotion. That is discipline. That is the way. So if your financial life has been one of frustration or fear, don't curse it, don't curse it, don't resent it, just look at it honestly. What are you not seeing? What are you not doing? What are you doing that you must stop? Perhaps you are spending without awareness. Perhaps you are helping those who pull you down. Perhaps you fear wealth because you have been told it is unspiritual. Perhaps you are just tired of struggling and you have begun to numb yourself. Whatever it is, just see it clearly. Because once you see, truly see, change is inevitable. Awareness is not a slow medicine, it is a lightning bolt. One clear moment can undo years of confusion. One deep realization can ignite decades of action. And when it comes to money, that realization might be this: you are not meant to live in survival mode. You are not here just to pay bills, get old and die. You are a possibility, not just spiritually, not just emotionally, but also materially. You can build, you can create, you can give, but only if you stop being afraid of wealth, only if you stop pushing it away with your thoughts and habits. It is not wealth that corrupts, it is unconsciousness that corrupts. Money only amplifies what you already are. If you are bitter, it will magnify your bitterness. If you are generous, it will magnify your generosity. So don't fear money, fear your own unwillingness to grow. And don't confuse simplicity with poverty. Simplicity is a choice. Poverty is often a trap. You can live simply and still have abundance. You can live humbly and still be wealthy. In fact, that is the highest possibility, to have enough not only for yourself but for others. To be able to say yes when the world asks, can you help? That yes is a privilege and it only comes when you rise above survival. I see many people who say they want to help the world, but are stuck in their own mess. How will you lift another when you cannot stand straight yourself? First fix your own foundation, then lift the world. And this begins not with some grand revolution, but with small sacred decisions. Today maybe you decide to track every rupee you spend. Tomorrow, maybe you read one page of a book about wealth. Next week maybe you open an investment account. Maybe you begin to speak to your children about money, not with anxiety but with wisdom. Maybe you stop giving to those who manipulate your kindness. Maybe you start giving to those who inspire your growth. Maybe you finally sit down with yourself and say, hey, enough of drifting, I will be the master of my life. That decision, that quiet, unshakable decision is the seed of your financial liberation. And remember, this journey is not linear. Some days you will feel powerful, some days you will feel lost. That is okay, keep walking, keep learning, keep adjusting. Every step, even the missteps, are part of the dance. What matters most is that you no longer walk in blindness. You are no longer a puppet of old beliefs. You are no longer waiting for someone else to fix your life. You are awake. And when a human being is awake, even the universe leans in to help, because life loves those who participate consciously. Money is not a god, but it is not a demon either. It is a force like electricity. You can use it to burn your house or you can use it to light it. Use it to light your path, use it to build something lasting, use it to serve your purpose, use it to uplift others. Not because you must, but because you can. That is the joy of financial freedom. Not that you own more, but that you owe less to fear. That you no longer enslaved by insecurity, by desperation, by the guilt of wanting more or the shame of having less. That you are simply you, clear, conscious, capable. And in that clarity, everything else becomes possible. So this is not just a talk about money. This is about reclaiming your power, your agency, your vision. Money is just one layer, but when you peel it back, you find something deeper. A human being who is no longer sleeping, no longer surviving, but thriving. That is the true shift from poor to rich, not in numbers, but in mindset. Not in things, but in awareness. Not in fear, but in grace. And that grace is waiting for you. It always was.